Hello, everyone. Welcome to IAM's 58th annual meeting and our very first virtual meeting. While we're very disappointed that we're not going to be able to get together in person this year in San Diego, we're not going to let the COVID-19 pandemic keep us entirely apart. We've got a great platform called Swap Card that's going to give us the opportunity to participate in a lot of professional panels, one-on-one meetings, and it also offers a virtual exhibit hall. Please make sure and take time to visit the exhibit hall. We want to thank our conference sponsor, Enterprise Database Corporation, our gold sponsors, Transferet and National Van Lines, and the many silver and bronze sponsors. One of the programs that we're most proud of is the Alan F. Wallsetter Scholarship Fund. For a presentation on that, please welcome our Scholarship Fund President, Maria Andrea Rodriguez.
Hello, everyone. Usually at this point of my speech, the only thing I could think of is I didn't trip coming up the stage, quickly followed by I should know my name by now. For those who don't know me, I'm Maria Andrea Rodriguez, president of the Alan Wallstetter Scholarship Fund. It has been an exciting and productive year for us at the fund. But before I start to tell you about what we did, I want to take a moment to thank the board. Chuck, Tim, Heather, Georgia, Anne, Jackie, and Elad, as well as to the staff, Brian, Julian, and Scott, for the time and dedication to accomplish the goals we had for this year. Now, let's see our scholarship recipients. These awards wouldn't be possible if it weren't for our donors. Thank you for staying committed to our scholarship. Considering the hardship faced during this pandemic by many kids, the Scholarship Fund approved a one-time donation to nonprofits working with kids. I want to thank all of the members that submitted an application with a nonprofit. From those candidates, the board voted on these three nonprofits as recipients of the donation. After some back and forth, I'm happy to announce that IAM will now consider approved industry trainings as part of those programs eligible for scholarships. We hope that with this new initiative, more members can benefit and that our industry as a whole gains a more knowledgeable workforce. I invite you all to stay tuned for more information about the approved industry trainings and opportunities by visiting the Scholarship Fund website, as well as reading the updates on the Portal magazine. Thank you and stay healthy.
Thanks, Maria. In a minute, we're going to bring up Chuck White for his annual State of the Association address. But first, we're going to have a short presentation from Move for Hunger to announce this year's Mover of the Year award. If you're not working with Move for Hunger already, please consider doing so, as they are working really hard to try and help reduce food insecurity. Please join me in welcoming the founder of Move for Hunger and a really great guy, Adam Lowy.
Hey IAM, Adam Lowy here with Move for Hunger, and I gotta say, this is one of the weirdest years we have ever experienced. I wish I could be on stage with so many of you from across the world, sharing stories about all the good work that you have done. But alas, I'm here in my office, but equally excited to celebrate our 2020 IAM Mover of the Year. Now, it has been an incredibly challenging year, not here at home in the United States, but for many of you across the globe as well. COVID-19 has had a pretty substantial effect on food insecurity and hunger. Here in the United States, before the pandemic began, there were already 37 million Americans that were going to bed hungry each night. And as a result of this pandemic, we are expected to see an additional 17 million Americans who will not know where their next meal is coming from. Now, many of these people struggling are going to be visiting food banks for the very first time. People who used to be donors to the food bank are now finding themselves in unimaginable situations. And it is more important now than ever to not only support organizations like ours, but to reach out and support your local food banks and pantries. I am so beyond amazed and proud of the way that the IAM membership has stepped up this year in incredible ways. In 2020 so far, IAM members have helped to feed more than 250,000 people. This is an achievement that we should all celebrate. And since our founding as Move for Hunger, IAM members have now delivered more than 3.8 million meals to individuals in need. This number continues to grow each and every year, and I'm more excited to see the impact rise each and every year. I'd like to thank our partners, though, because without them, we would not be able to continue to do what we do. If you're interested in joining us as a partner this year, please reach out. We would love to talk to you. Alongside our partners, each one of you has the opportunity to make a difference as well. For a small donation, you can help us feed families. Every $100 we raise will help us feed more than 250 people. So please consider making a donation at moveforhunger.org/donate. Now, without further ado, I would like to recognize one moving company who has gone above and beyond this year, providing more than 40,000 meals in 2020 alone, and the year ain't over yet. And since the life of our program more than a decade ago, this IAM member has helped feed more than 250,000 people. Please give a round of applause for ACE Relocation Systems as our 2020 IAM MVP. Congratulations, ACE.
Thank you, Adam. Please join me now in welcoming Chuck White, President of the International Association of Movers.
Good morning. Welcome to the IAM Annual Conference. This is the 58th Annual Conference, and we're in a slightly different environment than we're normally used to. But first, before I get started, I'd like to thank our conference sponsor, Enterprise Database Corporation, EDC. Thanks for coming along with us, EDC. This is a very, very different environment, but you have had the guts to be able to reach out with us and join us on this interesting ride we're going to be taking. Well, I said interesting ride. We're in this situation because of, well, what we all know, a pandemic. This has been the most interesting year in my entire life. It's been unbelievably crazy from not just the perspective of the pandemic, but for all of the different things that I think I'm going to be talking to you about today. It's been interesting. So obviously the pandemic is the very first thing that we need to talk about. It's had an effect on every single individual, every single IAM member company, and on IAM itself. People are learning new phrases, social distancing. People are staying at home. People are wearing masks. I can remember walking through airports and thinking, man, that person is crazy. They've got a mask on. Now I don't go anywhere without my mask because it is just critically important that we all do our part to be able to take this pandemic down and start to move us in the right direction. But the pandemic has not been the only thing that has been affecting our industry over the last year. 2020 was supposed to be our motto, a clearer vision for everyone. But in fact, everything that has happened here this year has maybe fogged that vision up just a bit. I want to talk about some of those things. There is the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think we've been emphasizing the ugly, but I want to talk about a few of the very positive things that have happened in 2020. So I'll be bouncing back and forth between what's on the good side and what's on the bad side. So obviously the pandemic is number one, and hopefully we'll get back to business as usual or some type of new normal in the very near future. But it is a little bit cloudy at this point. one of the things I really do want to talk about that happened this year that is going to be incredibly impactful on every single aspect of our industry is what is known as the Global Household Good Contract. This is a U.S. Department of Defense initiative that we've been really talking about for the last 18 to 24 months. Well, it came to fruition in April of this year. The contract was awarded to an organization that hopes to bring better quality, better service to the U.S. Department of Defense Household Good Moving Program. This is a huge program. Over 350,000 moves a year, 350 to 400,000. It is at a cost of about $2.5 billion a year. And the contract, the Global Household Good Contract that was awarded over the full life of the contract is almost 20 billion US dollars, an unbelievable amount. Now that organization has been stymied a bit, and what has happened is a few of the other bidders have protested the award of the contract. By the time that we talk and the annual conference, we may know what the disposition of those protests are. There is a due date of today, the 21st of October. And so we will know possibly what the direction will be, what the go forward schedule will be once those protests that were presented to the Government Accountability Office, GAO, we'll know what that disposition will be. Does that mean that the contract is going to start on time, which is currently scheduled for February 1, 2021? Who knows? Because there are other options available to those protesters if the protest does not go as they hope it will. There is the possibility that we may see court action in the U.S. Federal Court of Claims. Okay, so where does that leave us? Well, we've got a program that moves basically 20% of the world's volume in household goods, and that's going to a single entity. So we'll see, but I do believe that it will eventually be awarded and it will eventually have an effect on every aspect of the moving industry. Let me make that point again. It's going to have an impact on every single aspect of the moving industry. So whether or not you are doing U.S. Department of Defense business right now, when you take 20% of the world market and hand it over to a single entity, then that may steamroll other aspects of the industry moving forward and can affect everything from local moving, international, commercial, all aspects of government. So this is going to be something that I would encourage every one of our members to keep an eye on, to listen very closely to the news that comes out, and try to position yourself in a way that you understand the impact on your organization and what you need to do to remain viable. Later in the conference, Dan Bradley and I will look into our crystal ball and we'll take a look at what we think may be some of the outcomes, may be the future of this particular contract. But you'll have to wait to hear a little bit more of that in that session. The other thing that has happened this year, again, good or bad, depending on how you look at it, is IAM has been involved in discussions with the American Moving and Storage Association. There are two large moving associations in the United States, the American Moving and Storage Association and the International Association of Movers. The International Association of Movers has typically been considered the international arm of the moving sector, whereas the American Moving and Storage Association was looked at primarily as the U.S. domestic trucking side of our business. Well, early in the year, in the springtime, there was some discussions about the possibility of a merger between AMSA and a third organization, the American Trucking Association, which is a huge entity that covers all aspects of trucking in the United States other than moving and storage. And those discussions, I think, became heated in about April of this year. Well, there was some consternation at AMSA about whether or not ATA was the right fit for AMSA. Some of the folks that were on their board of directors decided that they should also take a look at a potential merger with IAM. So over the course of 2 or 3 months, there was numerous discussions that went on between AMSA and ATA and AMSA and IAM. Our governing body, our executive committee, did yeoman's work, did great work in helping to put together a proposal. In particular, Mr. Tim Hellenthal, the chairman of the association. And he worked with staff to put together a proposal that we thought would be beneficial for both the American Moving and Storage Association and IAM. A merger between those two organizations would have been powerful. It would have made us an organization with over 5,000 member companies around the world. It would have been a very powerful organization. But in the end, AMSA decided to move toward a merger with the American Trucking Association. That is currently ongoing. They are working through all of the specific details, but the American Moving and Storage has gone away. They are pretty much dissolved at this point. And so that leaves IAM as the only organization that exists in the United States for moving and storage globally. And so one of the things that we want to do as an organization is to move forward with trying to show the value proposition to U.S. companies. U.S. companies are really a small segment of IAM. We are about 80% membership located outside the continental United States. So we believe this is a very prime opportunity for membership growth for IAM. And we are going to be looking very closely, and have already started to do so, to approach a group in the United States that we are considering domestic, asset-based movers, DAB. This group, we've formed a task force, and that task force is helping us to get the value proposition, the message out about what IAM has to offer to that segment of the population. Now, we're really not changing our focus. We're just opening the doors, opening the lens to help those entities see what IAM has to offer. We think this is a positive for the entire worldwide membership. The United States is really one of the economic drivers in the world. And many of our members outside of the U.S. want to do business in this country. Well, this is another way to open the doors to new business, to new agent capability, to new partnerships with people here in the United States for those members of IAM that are located overseas. We think this is an important initiative for the membership, the global membership, but also for IAM, because our growth has been fairly flat over the last 10 years. And we are hoping to see some membership growth, to bring more dollars into IAM, to then be able to benefit the entire membership worldwide. So this is a real positive for us. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is just this IAM conference. We're now virtual. And that's a critical piece for us, because we are hoping that this is going to bridge the gap between our in-person meeting that has become such a valuable networking tool for the industry and our membership, and being able to also be able to provide content that we were never previously able to provide, and to be able to give access cost-wise to many other people within the membership's organizations that were never able to come to the meeting previously. We understand. It is somewhat cost prohibitive to bring multiple people to our annual conference. There's the cost of travel, there's the cost for hotel stays, there's the cost for meals, and obviously then there's the cost of the conference. So it is an important financial outlay that you have to make to be able to engage in this. This year, I believe we are going to open the door. It's completely virtual this year, and so the price point is significantly lower than what it's been in the past, obviously. But what we are hoping to do is learn lessons from this experience, to be able to understand what it is the membership is looking for in an annual conference. So we believe this is going to open the door, build the bridge between our in-person meeting and this new virtual experience. And I believe the virtual experience is going to play a role as we move to the future. I see it as being a hybrid type event as in the future, so that we will have our annual conference. It will continue to be that vibrant experience that you have when you can share a cocktail with a friend, give them a big hug and say, hey, how's the last year been for you? But also those folks that you leave behind at the office will be able to get a taste of this experience in a virtual environment as well. So we hope to be able to meld these two in the future. And in a little bit, I'll talk about what the future holds and where our annual conferences will be. But I think this is the bridge. We are the guinea pigs for this, because I really do believe we're going to look at a new normal moving forward. And many of the other organizations you may belong to are also going to have this type of similar experience. We're the first to do it. We're building a bridge as we go. We're asking you to be on it with us as we're building this bridge. But I think this is going to be an awesome experience for you. Because one of the things we've been able to do, because the cost of travel and lodging, etc., is not a barrier, we've been able to bring in a whole new segment in the mobility arena for you. We're bringing in corporate clients to come in and speak to you about what it takes to become a client of theirs. We're bringing in relocation management companies, and they will be able to talk to you about the business of the world, the current landscape, and what it takes to become a service provider for them. We're bringing in all different aspects of U.S. government, the Department of Defense, the General Services Administration, GSA, the Department of State, and others, to be able to have discussions with our members about what it takes to become involved with them. Because the landscape of the future may be very, very different, and diversification is going to be critical. And so you're going to be able, in this virtual annual meeting, to find out about all strata of business across the entire landscape. You know, there's lots of stuff that's going on, as I talked about, one of them being this global household good contract. And when that happens, which the Department of Defense has been the real basis by which the organization at the time, the Household Good Forwarders Association of America, got started. Well, there are many terms and a lot of terminology that's tied into our governance structure, our bylaws, based on that DoD program. One of them is called a transportation service provider. Well, in the global household goods environment, that term goes out the window. There is no such thing as a transportation service provider, but that terminology is embedded in our bylaws. It's throughout the bylaws and determines a number of things about the different membership categories and who must belong to which one, etc. So we're having to take a deep dive, a real significant look at our bylaws and see if they make sense moving forward. I've talked to our staff, and following this annual conference, Our number one agenda is to look at and address all of our bylaws to see if they fit with what the future vision is for our organization. And I would venture to say by the next annual meeting in 2021, we will have a full set of new bylaws for review by the membership. And we'd ask you to start thinking along those lines, because the way that the household good forwarders used to be, and as it morphed into IAM and to what IAM will look like in the future, is going to be very, very different. And our bylaws, many of them are archaic, and they need to be adjusted to this future vision of what the organization needs to look like and what it needs to do to be able to fit the needs of our worldwide membership. So, other than that, we've done a number of things to try to upgrade what we provide to the membership. We had a member needs assessment. We reached out to you and we got a significant amount of feedback in this survey that really told us what direction you wanted to go in. One of the things that was asked for was the access to learning online. And so 2 years ago, we opened up the IAM learning platform. My goodness, this thing has exploded. It has grown exponentially. And we are continuing to add content. We're continuing to see members engage in that platform. And we are really, really excited about what the future holds for IAM learning. It is a robust platform. And I encourage you, if you have not had an opportunity to look at it, to see what it can provide, then I would encourage you to take a look. It's behind the Mobility Exchange platform, which is another initiative that we have looked at and another that we have continued to build upon. So we've got this membership database, but it is so much more than that. And we envision it being so much more as the needs of our member companies grow and the access to information. So I'm sure you know about our validation program, but we're going beyond that. We think it's important not only for business to business relationships to understand the credibility of the organizations involved in IAM, but we are also looking at the potential, not potential, I'm wrong. We are looking at the reality of certification programs to document the quality of individuals and the quality of companies that are involved in IAM. We've got certification programs that you need to take a peek at. And we're going to build those certifications under an umbrella called IAM Trusted. I am trusted. And if you're trusted, we are really looking at this as an advantage in the not only business to business, but business to commercial arena as well. Business to customers, so that they can come to Mobility Exchange. We're looking at doing a customer-facing site as well, rather than just a business-to-business site, that they can find movers that are trusted, that have been validated, that have had all their credentials vetted, and that take them to the next step in finding a quality mover. So these are just a few of the initiatives that we are trying to push forward in 2021. You'll be hearing more and more about IAM Learning, Mobility Exchange, about the IAM Trusted initiative. We're also doing some things to be able to advertise your companies on Mobility Exchange. So the future, these are initiatives that have just come about in the last couple of years. The future is very, very bright. And the future for organizations in our association is going to bring their profiles to a much, much higher level. So one of the other things that we have focused on just a little bit, but I want to really talk a little bit more about it, is this idea of membership growth. We have right now a little over 2,000 member companies in about 170 countries in our membership. But we are hoping to grow that. We think there are so many more entities out there that can bring value to our membership and that we can bring value to. As I already talked about, the U.S. itself is one of our growth markets, and we are going to be attacking that. But through collaborations that we're doing with multiple organizations around the world, we are hoping to have that value proposition for IAM members grow and become more visible. And we are hoping to make this the place to be. The place to be not only for moving companies, but we want to expand into the mobility market. And I think you're seeing that at our virtual annual conference, or you will see it at our virtual annual conference by all of the different aspects of the mobility space that are participating in our conference. We hope to bring in the buyers and the providers to be able to have them work together in a common environment through the growth of this membership. So this is really a key focus for us moving forward. Changing the bylaws, as I referenced previously, is one of the initiatives that is tied to that. We've got to make this a space that is opportunistic for all strata of the mobility industry. So we talked about conferences. Yeah, hopefully we're going to get back to some kind of new normal in the future. But we have laid out a very ambitious plan for our conferences in the coming years. As you can see, we're going to be in Orlando next year. It's a place we've all visited, home of Disney World. We all love that and a place to bring our families, but it is an ever-growing, vital city, and we're excited about being there. But we're also going to be bringing you to some new places that we've never been before. We're going in 2022 to Seattle. In 2023, we're going to Toronto. In 2024, we're going back to a place we haven't been since 2001, which is Las Vegas, Nevada. An incredibly exciting venue we've got there. And finally, we're going back to New York City. New York City, we had a wonderful, one of our largest meetings ever, right in Times Square, in the heart of New York City. You'll feel the heartbeat of the city. We're there in 2025. Just a couple of particulars. In Seattle, they're opening up a new convention center. It's almost right across the street, attached from the signature hotel for the event. So it will almost be like a new center and a brand new hotel attached to one another, and you will be able to get the downtown city experience in brand new properties. It's going to be amazing. Toronto, one of the most eclectic cities, one of the most diverse cities in the world. It's going to be a great opportunity, again, right in downtown Toronto. We're going to be at the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Las Vegas, one of the newer properties right on the Strip. And then in New York, we're going to be at the Marriott Marquis again. Exciting, as I said, in downtown New York City, right in Times Square. So let me close. There's a lot of negative going on right now. We're in the middle of a pandemic. And unfortunately, what I'm hearing is we might be ramping back up again as we go into the winter months. So it's, from that perspective, it's fairly dark times. And I understand how negatively this can affect business, how negatively it can affect individuals and families, and it has had a negative effect on IAM. One of our critical pieces of revenue is this annual conference. And it obviously has had a negative effect because we're not able to hold our annual conference. At least not the in-person one. But let me tell you, I am incredibly optimistic about the future. We've got to get past this. Once we get a vaccine, once we get the ability to deal with this negativity associated with the pandemic, the world will open back up and people will begin to travel again. And business will become robust again because as humans, we are an adventuresome species. We have to venture out. We have to meet with people. And that, I think, will bring us back to some vibrant annual conferences. But this virtual event is also going to add a new element that we are going to have to engage. We found that we can do business in a virtual environment. We found that we can network in a virtual environment. So the annual conference has to have a combination of that. But the association is going to be bringing new tools, new ways of doing business, new ways of advertising what you do as a business. And we hope to have, in the very near future, the real nexus of where business can be done and how it can be done and the quality at which it will be done in. And so I am very, very excited about what 2021 and beyond will have to offer as we continue to refine the governance structure of our organization, to invite in new aspects of the industry to join us in IAM, and to be able to weather the storm and move forward with a more vibrant, exciting organization to have you all engage in. So thank you for allowing me to have just a few minutes of your time at the beginning of our conference. Take advantage of our exhibitors in the exhibit hall. Take advantage of the different panels that we're having. Do your one-on-one networking and use this as the bridge to the future, because it's going to be an exciting, vibrant future for all of IAM. Thank you very much.